Okay, imagine a place with just scorching sun, endless sand, and almost zero water. The hot desert, right? It's one of the most extreme places on Earth, basically a giant furnace. And yet, it's absolutely packed with life. So let's dive in and uncover the amazing secrets of these desert survivors. So that's the big question, isn't it? When you take away all the things we think are essential for life, water, shelter, comfortable temperatures, how does anything possibly manage to thrive? It really does seem impossible, but nature, as it always does, has some pretty brilliant answers. And the answer? Really, it all comes down to one single word: adaptation. This is the master key that unlocks life in the toughest places on the planet. But what in the world does that actually mean? Well, to put it simply, an adaptation is kind of like a special trick or a superpower. It's a feature that a plant or an animal has developed over thousands and thousands of years that gives it an edge, to find food, save water, and beat the heat. It's the secret to making a home in a place that seems unlivable. So let's start with the silent masters of survival, the plants. I mean, think about it. They can't just run for shade or go looking for an oasis. So their adaptations have to be extra, extra clever. And first up, we've got to talk about the icon of the desert itself, the cactus. It's so much more than just a spiky plant. It is a masterclass in survival engineering. The cactus is basically staring down two huge problems all the time. First, where do I get water when it almost never rains? And second, how do I hold on to every single precious drop that I find? Its entire design is basically a solution to this puzzle. What's so amazing here is how every single part works together. Okay, so think of its big, fleshy stem as a personal water tank. Now, to keep that water from just evaporating away in the crazy heat, it's sealed in by this thick, waxy skin. It's like a built-in waterproof jacket. And those sharp spines, they're not just for defense. They're actually tiny leaves that cut down on water loss. But the real genius starts underground, with these massive, shallow roots that spread out like a net, ready to soak up any bit of rain the second it hits the ground. All right, next up, we have the acacia tree. And it takes a completely different approach. It doesn't just sit around and wait for rain. It actually goes looking for water where nothing else can get to it. So, if the cactus's game plan is all about catching water on the surface, how does the acacia survive those long, long droughts? Well, it drills down, deep. And this right here is its secret weapon. Its incredible root system can push deep, deep underground, acting like a built-in well to tap into hidden water sources. And the payoff? Get this, it can store a staggering 120 liters of water in those roots. That's more than a full bathtub. It's a personal reservoir for the absolute driest times imaginable. And the acacia's other tricks are just as smart. Its leaves are tiny and waxy, which helps reduce water loss and reflect that harsh sunlight. It's got these vicious thorns to warn off hungry animals looking for a snack. And its big, wide canopy, kind of like an umbrella, provides shade, not just for animals, but for the ground around its own roots, which slows down evaporation and keeps everything just a little bit cooler. Now, our last plant has a strategy that is totally different from the other two. It doesn't even try to tough it out through the worst of the desert heat. Instead, it waits for the perfect moment and then lives its entire life in a flash. Yeah, the desert bluebell is the ultimate opportunist. Its seeds can just lie there in the soil, totally dormant, for years, just waiting. But the second a good rain falls, it is a race against the clock. They just explode into action, sprouting, growing, flowering, and making new seeds in just a matter of weeks. They live their entire life cycle before the desert turns back into a furnace. It is the ultimate live fast, die young strategy of the plant world. So we're starting to see this common theme pop up, right? Staying safe. Plants arm themselves with these passive defenses like thorns and spines, but animals, who are always on the move, they've come up with totally different solutions to the very same problem, and that is a perfect transition to see how they handle life in the furnace. All right, now let's talk about the creatures that have to move through this extreme landscape. Animals have to worry about finding food and water, escaping predators, and of course, dealing with that intense, relentless heat. And you just have to start with the undisputed king of desert travel, the camel. This animal is perfectly, and I mean perfectly, designed for long, hard journeys across the sand. This is the classic question, right? We've all wondered, It can go for days, sometimes even weeks without a drink of water. How is that even physically possible? Okay, first things first, let's bust a huge myth. That famous hump? It doesn't store water. It's a massive lump of fat. When there's no food around, the camel breaks down that fat for energy. And, get this, a byproduct of that whole process is water. It has its own internal canteen. On top of that, it's a master of conservation. It barely sweats, and it produces really concentrated urine to save every last drop. And to top it all off, its lips are so tough it can eat spiky plants that would shred other animals' mouths. And its wide feet act like natural snowshoes on the hot sand. So we go from one of the biggest desert animals to one of the absolute smallest and, let's be honest, cutest. The fennec fox is a true master of staying cool.
You know, for a tiny, warm-blooded animal, overheating is a massive, massive danger. So what's the fennec fox's secret to temperature control? How does it not just, cook out there?
Well, its most obvious feature is its best tool, those enormous ears. They're just filled with blood vessels, and they act like personal radiators, releasing body heat right into the air. Its sandy-colored fur does a great job of reflecting sunlight, and you're gonna love this, the thick fur on the bottom of its feet actually insulates them from the scorching hot ground. Every single part of it is a clever solution. So after looking at all these incredible survivors, you start to see a really clear pattern emerge. It turns out there's kind of a formula for winning in the desert, a set of problems that every single living thing there has to solve. This table really just brings it all home. Look at the challenges: finding water, beating the heat, staying safe. Both plants and animals face the exact same life or death situations, but their solutions are brilliantly different, and they're tailored to what they can do. Plants kind of engineer their bodies, right? With waxy leaves and deep roots. Animals, on the other hand, engineer their behavior, like digging burrows or having those big ears. It just goes to show you there isn't one single right way to survive, just the way that works for you. And that is adaptation in a nutshell. And that really brings us to a final thought. These organisms don't just get by. They have absolutely perfected the art of thriving when things get tough. Their adaptations are a powerful lesson in resilience. And it kind of leaves you with a big question. If they can do all that, what can these amazing blueprints for survival teach us about facing the challenges in our own world?